It's time to get back to basics. Hey Pinnacle Studio peeps, how y'all doing out there? My name is Malik and I'm back on your screen with more Pinnacle Studio love from PinnacleStudioPro.com. Today we're going to do a video on the basic editing principles using Pinnacle Studio 21 Ultimate. So let's jump off into the software and make it happen. Here we are in Pinnacle Studio 21 Ultimate. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to Pinnacle Studio Pro to see great tips and tricks for using Pinnacle Studio software every Saturday. If you like what you see in this tutorial and you decide that you want to buy Pinnacle Studio 21, then click on the Show More button underneath this video and go to the video description and use my affiliate link to either buy or upgrade to Pinnacle Studio 21. Now that is an affiliate link, as I stated, so that means that I will get a small kickback if you use it to purchase the software, but you will be paying the same price just as if you went directly to the website and bought it there. So if you want to support me and help me make videos for you, to help you make better videos for yourself, your family, your friends, your clients, use that link and support your boy. Now, whenever you create a video, the first thing that you want to do is set up your project. So to do that, you need to go to Setup, Control Panel, and here you want to go down to Project Settings. Under Project Settings, you want to focus on your new movie project format, and so you want to select your video standard. I have selected HD 1920 by 1080 24p because this is the format and resolution that I want to use when I export my video, so I want my project to be the same. There are many different settings in here for you to choose from. And now that we're done with that, I'm going to click on OK. So I want to go ahead and go over the interface with you guys. There are a few main parts to the interface. There's the library window. And there's also a button to change the library window to an editor window. You have your preview window. And you have your timeline. So I'm going to go over all of these and give you some info I know you're going to love. First off, over here on the left hand side, we have these icons. These icons on the left allow you to go ahead and choose from different types of assets or effects or projects to open up to start doing your editing. So up here, I have tabs, and these tabs are showing up because I went into my library media and I selected a location that I wanted to grab assets from. So if I open up a new tab, it'll automatically default to project bins, but I can choose from any one of these things, like effects. If I went to effects and I went to artistic, it'll open up the artistic effects on that tab. So you can utilize these tabs to manage the different areas that you're going to gather assets from. And you can always use this plus sign to add new tabs to have more assets to access. So above these tabs, we have a few options. The first one here is switch positions. So if you click on switch positions, it's going to move the preview window over to the left and the library window over to the right. So if you prefer these things in these different positions, you can do that. So I'm going to click on it again and it'll send everything back to where it was originally. Then we can detach windows. So if we click on this detach windows button, then it's going to detach the window from where it was. And it actually opens up the editor window. So I can go ahead and dock the window wherever I want. Can undock it, move it over to another monitor, all kind of good stuff. Then we have dual mode. So if I click on dual mode, then it'll open up the library window and the editor window. Right now I don't have any clips selected on the timeline, but if I do select a clip on the timeline, then the editor window will populate. So by using dual mode, I can go ahead and view both the library window and the editor window. So below the tabs, we have some other buttons. The first one is the quick import button. So if I want to import files or assets, I can just click on this, and then I can browse to the location on my computer where that specific file is, and I can import it into the program. Next, we just have a browse files in the Explorer. So once again, I can go to different locations on my computer and browse them. Then we have group by. So I can group the assets in my library window by codec, rating, the date taken, the file type, the folder, all that good stuff. Then I have sort by. So once again, I can sort by different things, codec, duration, tags, rating, all that good stuff. Then I have 3D. So if I want to just see any 3D files, I can choose this and only those files will show up in the view. Then I have tags. So if I add any tags or anything like that to any of my assets, I can view them by those tags. I can display the items with specific ratings that I've given to files. So if I given files 4-star rating, then only those files would show up if I selected 4 stars. And then I can use this window here to search the current view for specific files or assets that I have. So below the window, we have some other options here. So we have our scenes view. So if we want to display a clip for each scene, we can use the scene view. Then we have refresh library. So we can reload all the items by using this. And then we have the thumbnail view, which we currently have. And a details view. So if we want to view things by the details of each clip or file, we can do that. And then we have a smart movie button. So if we want to make a smart movie, it was available under the organize tab before, but now it's right here underneath the library window. And then we have the ability to change the thumbnail size with the slider. If we change this from a library window to the editor window, there's some options that we have here. Basically, you have the properties, where you have the different properties of the clip that you're viewing right now. And so I can move it horizontally. I can change the vertical, the size. I can change the rotation, opacity. Edge softness, corner curve, border, cropping, all that good stuff right from here in the properties. Then we have corrections. So we can make several different corrections: wide angle lens, stabilize, adjustments, enhancements. We have effects, so we can add all the different types of effects. I'm not going to go into all of them right now. We have pan and zoom, so we can apply pan and zoom. We have transition in, transition out, and then time remapping. So under the editor window, there's a lot of different functions that you can use here. I'm going to go back to the library window. And the next thing I want to talk about is your preview window. So at the top, you have source and timeline. So source, if you're viewing the source, you're viewing the object in the library window that you've clicked on. If you're viewing the timeline, then you're viewing the timeline wherever your playhead is located. So some of the things that you can do here is if you want to have, you want to see the timeline stretched out so you can see frames, you can stretch out your timeline if you wish to. This button here is a loop play, so it will loop the timeline, whatever it's playing, it'll play it over and over again. You have your jog and shuttle. So if you want to move forward or reverse, you can use this to kind of move across the timeline. So here you have the keys. The first key is to go to start, and you can also use your home key for that. Then you have your go to end. You can use your end key on your keyboard for that. You have a jump backwards, so you can use this to jump between clips, or you can use your page up button, or you can use your D key on your keyboard. All of those will make it jump backwards. Then you have your jump forward button. So you can use this button to jump forward, or you can use your page down key on your keyboard, or you can use your F key on your keyboard. All of those will make it jump forward. So then you can go backwards one frame. And so you can barely see that playhead moving when I do that. You can also use your left arrow, or you can use your Z key. Then you have your move forward one frame. So you can use the button to do that. You use your right arrow, or now you can use your X key. To play a clip, you can use the play button, or your space bar, or the L key. Now over here to the right, you have your system volume. So this turns off and on the volume for Pinnacle Studio. And then you also have the option here to change the volume. And then we have the PIP function. So the first one is the scale button. So we can actually use that to scale up or scale down in one of these beautiful images. And then we have crop. So we can crop an image. So we got all that beautiful stuff there as well. So let's talk about the timeline now. So for the timeline, there's a few different ways that you can rearrange it. So you can stretch it out if you want to, using the time section down here, or you can use your plus and minus keys, or you can actually use this scroll bar here. So a lot of different ways that you can change the size there. So here on the AV track, there's a few options for this one. You can lock all of your tracks so that nothing moves or changes within them, or you can lock individual tracks. You can make tracks visible or make tracks disable tracks so you can't see them, and you can mute tracks, or you can make sure that the tracks are audible. If you want to, you can add a track at the top using this button here, or if you want to add tracks above or below, you can right click on a track and go to insert track and choose above or below. You can delete tracks, you can edit the track name, change the track size, small, medium, or large, or very large if you want to have different sizes for different tracks. Viewing the waveforms, if there's audio, all that good stuff. So next we have our toolbar buttons, and the first one is to customize the toolbar. So you can use this to select which things you want to show or don't want to show on the toolbar. Then you have your timeline settings. So you use this to go ahead and change your timeline settings if you wish to do so from here, instead of doing it from the project settings that we looked at earlier. Then you have your storyboard or your navigator or nothing. Right now I don't have either one of them selected, but if I went here and I can choose storyboard, or I can choose the navigator, I choose that, and you see the navigator view here. Next we have our author toolbar. So if we click on the author toolbar button, then we get a export to my DVD button here, so we can export to the DVD functionality. And we also have the ability to create chapter markers and add those to the timeline. Next, we have the audio mixer. This opens up our audio mixer for different options for our audio for each audio video track. Then we have create song. So this adds a new score fitter song. And then we have our smart sound, which opens Sonic Fire Pro and allows us to add music from that. Smart sound is actually something that you have to buy separately, and Sonic Fire Pro is separate. So you might not have this button on your toolbar if you have Ultimate. Then you have your create title button to create titles for your video. And you have your create 3D title button. You have your voiceover button. Audio ducking to create audio that lowers whenever an individual is speaking. You have your multi-camera editor button. You've got your track transparency button. Motion tracking. You've got your split screen template creator. And you also have your match color. So this is a new function in Pinnacle Studio. So if you select multiple clips and you click on the match color button, you have the option of matching the color from your reference to your target. So if I click on this, you'll see that it matches the color there. If I chose another target, you can do the same there. Pretty cool feature. So moving on, we have our mark in button, which lets us select where we want to begin our export of our video, and then mark out where we can choose where we want to end the export at. And then we can clear our mark in, mark out buttons. We have the ability to split clips. So if we have our playhead in a timeline somewhere and we want to remove some of the clip or create a smaller clip, then we can click on split clips. And now you can see that I've created 2 clips from this one clip. And then if I wanted to delete a clip, I can select that clip and click on delete. And now I have removed that clip. If you're set up for smart movie or insert mode, then more than likely all of these clips would have jumped over to close up any gaps. But if you're on overwrite mode like I am, then it's not going to close up any of those gaps. But if you want to close them, you can right click on that gap and then select close gap, and it'll close that gap. All right, so next we have our snapshot button. So if we want to take a picture of a particular frame, we just put our playhead where we want to take a picture, and we click on the snapshot button. It'll create a JPEG of that frame. And then you can go ahead and use that within your video, or you can use it somewhere else if you want. And then we have our markers. So if we want to add markers to our timeline to reference a specific point in a timeline, like let's say I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly where this guy was right here on my timeline, I could add a marker here to the timeline, which would be able to use as a reference to go back to and say, hey, this is that point where I had the guy right here on the mountain. So next we have trim mode. So if I click on trim mode, then it'll give us a representation of where the playhead is and what clip is on the left of the playhead and what clip is on the right of the playhead. So whichever box is in yellow is the one that I'm going to trim. So if I hold down my left mouse and move it to the left, you'll see it'll trim it to the left. If I move it to the right, it'll trim it to the right. Okay. If I wanted to trim the other video, then I could just click on this one and I could do the same thing there. Now I can also use these buttons down here to trim, to go 10 frames back, go 1 frame back. So I can also use this button here to loop play and just play the transition between the 2 clips to show the impact of the trim that I made. I can move 1 frame forward, or I can move 10 frames forward. Then we have dynamic length transition. So basically, when you enable this, it gives you the ability to drag the transition to the timeline and set the duration when you're doing that. When it's not on, then it just adds static transitions of like 3 seconds or whatever your default transition time is. Then you have magnetic snapping, which allows you to snap or connect the clips when you get them close to one another. Then they'll automatically snap close to them, so you don't have to worry about cutting off frames or anything like that when you move clips around. You have the audio scrubbing. So what this does is it enables the ability for you to hear the audio when you scrub the timeline, or you can turn the audio off when you scrub the timeline. And then you have your timeline mode, which I alluded to earlier. You got your smart editing mode, which tries to figure out where to move the clips. You got your insert mode, where it inserts the clip on top of things or in them. So if I'm in insert mode, it's gonna move things, jump around when I try to move clips on here. Usually does the same thing for smart editing from my experience. There you go. But then with overwrite mode, if you move it in there, it's not gonna move the clips around. It's gonna keep them where they are. And then you have replace mode. So replace mode is more for use with templates. So you can replace things and stuff like that. So those are your different timeline modes. And then if you right click any of these clips, you get a bunch of different options. Some of these things are available in the editor. Last thing I want to talk about is saving or exporting. Remember that you're saving your movie, which means that you're saving it to a file format that can be opened later in Pinnacle Studio. But if you use save movie, you're not creating a movie to put online or to watch with your friends. It's just saving the actual project so that you can open it up later using Pinnacle Studio. So you have save movie to save your current movie. If you want to give it a different name, you choose save movie as. If you want to save the movie as a package or to save it as a template to use later on other movies and switch out the files and things like that, creating a disk project, you got all these different ways to save your movie. Now, if you want to export your movie to a format that is able to be viewed as a file on your computer or online, then you would choose the export button, and then it gives you options there on how to export. So that's it, people. Basic editing 101. All of the tools explained for you to be able to go to and use with Pinnacle Studio. All right, Pinnacle Studio peeps, I want to thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. It truly means the world to me. Now, I want to send a shout out to one of our YouTube subscribers, Pixel YouTube Granny High Canal. Pixel YouTube Granny High Canal makes videos on crochet tutorials. So if you're into crochet and you want to see some beautiful crochet magic going on, go to her channel, check out a couple of her videos, and if you're feeling what she's dealing, make sure that you subscribe. If you guys want to get a shout out like Pixel YouTube Granny High Canal did, make sure that you go to the video description and fill out the shout out request form. Also, if you got a tutorial that you'd like me to make, go to the video description and fill out the tutorial request form. And then I'll consider whether or not I'm going to make that tutorial for the channel. Now that I'm done with that, there's a few things I need you to do for me. The thumb, the one that's pointed in the upward direction. Make sure you click on that because it lets people know that the content in this video is good. Got any comments, questions, you just want to talk, chop it up, go ahead and leave those things in the comment section below and I'll be sure to get back to you. And last but not least, smash that subscribe button. And after you do that, make sure that you click on the bell because when you click on the bell, you receive notifications every time I upload content to YouTube. And that way you don't miss out on any of the learning and all of the fun. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.